Hey everybody, it looks like we are live here. I see a bunch of people already in the presentation, so I'm glad to see that. If you guys can hear me, just let me know in the chat. You guys hear me all right? Jamie says yes, James says yes, Tom says yes, Betty says yes. Wonderful. There is a little bit of a lag, so I don't get your notes right away. So I'll just wait a couple minutes for everybody to get on the presentation. While we're waiting, why don't you guys let me know where you're calling in from? Let me see who's represented here. Jamie says Florida. James says Orlando. Wow, too fast for me to read. Montreal, UK, Chicago, Dallas, Florida. A lot of Florida folks today. Portland, Toronto, Hyderabad, India. Wow. Dallas, Michigan, Toronto, Virginia, Bangladesh, London, Canada. Wow. So, geez, looks like all over the US and Canada and a few even in other countries as well. So great to have you guys here. Thank you for joining me on this presentation. Just got Venezuela, Nigeria, Nepal, getting all over the place. Amazing. Cool. So let's go ahead and get started here. So what I'm going to show you on this presentation, of course, is how to turn your Excel skills into a high-paying freelance consulting business that gets new clients consistently. Now, the way this presentation is going to work is I'm going to go over just a little bit about what this business model is and why it works. I'm going to tell you how it came about. Then I'm going to get into my exact marketing system that I use to get clients consistently. I'm going to show you exactly how you can recreate the same system. Then I'm going to show you how you can use the economic downturn to your advantage in this business. And then I'm going to show you how you can gain credibility, how you can get trust of clients, even if you've never had an Excel client before. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Now, just so you understand why this business works, let me ask you a couple questions. First of all, how many businesses use Excel? What do you think? How many businesses use spreadsheets in some capacity? Let me know in the chat. Ben says all of them. Brittany says most. Gospel says all. Data Sciencing says 90 plus. Yeah, exactly. So basically every business uses Excel. I mean, if you looked hard enough, you could probably find some exceptions of businesses that don't. But for the most part, every business uses Excel. So let me ask you another question. How good is the average person at Excel? Right? The average, all these companies are using Excel, but how good is the average person in these companies at using Excel? Lee says not good. Scott says basic. Brittany says basic user. Longstreet says average. Russell says 10%. Gospel Great says not great. Exactly. Most people are not that high level at Excel. So knowing that, let me ask you this question. How many people could benefit from someone like you that could help them with Excel? We established there are a lot of people that are using Excel, and most of them are not that good. So how many could benefit from someone like you that could bring their Excel skills to a better level? Jim says all of them. Alfredo says millions. David says most of them. Tony says all. Stephanie says hundreds. Data Sciences says a good amount. Yeah, I would estimate that there are tens of millions at least, if not hundreds of millions of people that can benefit from what you guys on this presentation can do. Now let me ask you, how many people are actually going out and offering help with Excel? And I don't mean people who are sitting around on Upwork, twiddling their thumbs, hoping that a client will come to them. I mean people who are actually going out into the marketplace and offering their help with Excel. Stephanie says, oh, I'm doing it now. Okay. Bruce says, I am. Brittany says, very few. Ben says, lots of training companies. Jose says, few. Data Sciencing says, I am, but I don't know any others. Right. So basically, the situation we have looks something like this. There's this massive market of people who need help with Excel. And then there's this tiny little fragment of people who are offering help with Excel. right? So if you were wondering, why would I tell you this, right? Why would I share my secrets? Why is this guy giving away how he gets clients? Aren't I just creating competition for myself? Well, this is the answer, right? The market is so huge and the competition is so minimal that competition is just kind of irrelevant. Being in this business is like being an ant in a cherry pie. There is more business out there for me to take than I could take in 1,000 lifetimes. So I'm just really not worried about competition at all. Now, just in case you're not convinced, here's a stack of some of the paper checks I've gotten from this business. And on the right is one page of my PayPal account. I'm not trying to say this to brag or impress you. I'm just showing you that this is a real business. It really makes money. Now, I should warn you that your results will vary from mine, right? Every person is an individual, and I'm not promising that if you follow my system, you will get exactly the same results that I'm getting. But what I do promise you is this, is that I'm going to show you the system that is working for me today. I'm going to show you how I do it, and what you do with that information is your responsibility. Okay, so just really quick, a really quick rundown about who I am. My name is Chris Shoup. I'm the founder of Advanced Excel Optimization. That's my Excel consulting business. I recently rebranded as the Excel Guy. I think it sounds a little more catchy. And I've been doing this business for 7 years. And you see the picture on the right there. That's me working hard in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Now, here's how this whole thing came about. I used to work at a normal corporate desk job. I was a data analyst. And I was the go-to Excel guy in the office. I had a few jobs where every job I had, people would go to me and they would ask for help in building Excel sheets or help with their formulas. And so one day I had the idea that maybe I could do the same kind of work as a freelancer, that I could get companies to hire me to work as a freelancer, and I could make more money and I have more freedom. The idea appealed to me because I was tired of working for somebody else. I was tired of having a ceiling on my income. I was tired of having to go into the office and sit in traffic every day. And I was tired of having no control over my schedule. So I decided to do it. I started gathering a portfolio. I put up a website, which you can see here. This is my original website. And I had some business cards printed. And then crickets. I went an entire year without getting a single client. When I finally did get my first client, I was super excited. I did the project, I sent it to the client for approval, and then they ghosted me. Never answered my emails, and I didn't get paid a cent. You can imagine how depressing that was. You get your first client after forever trying to do this, and then do the work and they don't even pay you. Horrible. So what I did is I went back and I completely restructured my delivery process. And thankfully it worked because I got paid by every client after that. But at that point, I was still getting clients only sporadically. I had no control, no consistent method for getting new clients. I realized that what I was missing was marketing. And so I made the decision that I was going to dedicate myself entirely to learning marketing because that was the missing piece. So I found a course in digital marketing that looked promising. I pulled out my credit card, I made the purchase, and dived in. A year and a half later, I was getting pretty good. And I figured out a clever way to apply my new marketing skills to my Excel business. Because back in those days, there weren't any trainings like I'm showing you here that marketing specifically for this business. It was just general marketing. So I had to figure out how to apply that knowledge to my Excel business. And so I did, and it worked. After 6 years, I had finally found a system that brought in clients consistently and that I could control. And that system is exactly what I am going to show you. So real quick, let me tell you who this presentation is for and who it's not for. This presentation is for people who are an intermediate to advanced level of Excel. You don't have to be a super genius, you don't have to be MVP certified or anything like that, but at least an intermediate level. This is for people who want to turn their skills into a full-time business that gives you more money, more freedom, more flexibility. Or even if you like your job and you just want a side gig for a little extra income, it'll work great for that too. I'm going to show you why that is. Now, let me show you who this presentation is not for. First of all, not for Excel beginners. If you never used Excel or you know Excel to a very basic level, then this is not really for you. And by the way, I don't want to discourage you, because I'm a big believer that if you don't know how to do something, you can learn, right? Go into Google and type Excel tutorial, and you'll get a million different results. You can go and learn Excel. I'm just saying that on this presentation, I'm not going to show you anything about how to do Excel. I'm assuming that you already know that, and that I'm going to help you build a business out of the knowledge that you already have. This is not for somebody who's looking for a get-rich-quick scheme. You can make a lot of money doing this, but you're going to have to do the work, right? You're going to have to do the projects for the clients. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme. And it's also not going to work for people who are not willing to invest. Now, I know that we kind of tend to get into this mindset, especially if you've been working as an employee for a while. You get into this mindset where you expect to get paid for every hour that you put in, and you don't have to put in money, you just take out money. Well, when you're doing a business, it doesn't quite work that way, right? You have to invest your time, and you have to invest your money. So, for example, in this business, you have to put in hours creating your marketing system that you're not going to get paid for. You don't get paid until you get your first client. And then by the same token, you have to put in money in order to get money. The method that I'm going to show you uses paid advertising. And I'm going to show you how you can put in a little bit of money and get a lot of money out in return. But if you're not willing to pay that up front, if you're not willing to invest anything at all of your time or of your money, then this just isn't going to work for you. Okay, so here's what we're going to actually cover. Number one is the exact system that I use to get new high-paying clients consistently. 2, how to thrive in a bad economy. And notice I put bad in quotation marks there, because just because it's bad overall doesn't mean it has to be bad for you. And 3 is how to get clients to trust you, even if you've never done an Excel project before as a freelancer. Okay, so let's jump into it. Part 1 is the process. This is the marketing process that I use to get new clients consistently. The first part of the process is an ad. I've had the best success with ads on YouTube. I run ads to people who are looking for help with Excel, saying something like, hey, are you tired of trying to figure this out yourself? Wouldn't you like somebody to just do your Excel project for you? And then if they click on my ad, they go to a landing page. Now, a landing page is different than a normal web page. If you think about a normal company web page, it has a whole bunch of different elements, right? You probably have a ribbon across the top that has the home page and the About Me page and the contact page, etc. And then you probably have some stuff in the sidebar, and maybe you have some articles and a blog, etc. Well, a landing page is different. A landing page is a very focused web page that's aimed at getting the customer, or getting the viewer rather, to do one thing. And in this case, that one thing is to become a lead, is to give me their contact information. So they fill out a contact form, they hit submit, and then they go to the next step, which is a thank you page. Thank you page just says, I got your information, I'm going to give you a call. And then I also send an automatic email at the same time as I send them to the thank you page. And then as soon as I can, I reach out to them and I give them a call and get an idea of what their project is, what they need help with, and if they're interested, if they would like to contract me, then I send over a quote, they get it back to me, I do the project, I get paid. So that's it, that's the whole process. Is this making sense so far? I'm going to go into this in more detail in just a moment, but does everybody understand the basic process here? Debbie says yep, Lee says yes. Nanette says yes. Okay, wonderful. Now let's go into each step in this process in a little more detail. Now, the ad is the first part, and this has 3 basic elements that I want to go over. Now, it's more nuanced than this, but I'm going to go over the 3 most important parts. Number 1 is the targeting. Targeting means who is the ad being shown to? And since YouTube is owned by Google, and YouTube advertising has access to the whole Google database of people, basically. So there's really good targeting options. I can choose exactly who I want to show my ads to. And in my particular case, I like to show my ads to people who are actively looking for help or looking for a tutorial on how to do something in Excel. So maybe they went to YouTube and they typed in something like, how to do a VLOOKUP, or how to create a dashboard, how to do conditional formatting, something like that. Those are the people that I run my ads to. Now, the second element is the copy. Copy is just a fancy marketing term that means what it is that you actually say. What do you actually say in the ad? And so in this case, since I'm targeting people who are looking for help with Excel, I say something like, hey, are you looking for help with Excel? Well, instead of trying to figure it all out yourself and wasting a whole bunch of time, you could just hire me to do it for you. If you're interested, give me a call or click the link and just give me a little bit of info. So that's the copy. And then the third element is my phone number. I actually give them my phone number in the ad, right? I would prefer that instead of clicking on the ad and then filling out the landing page and then me giving them a call later on, I would much prefer that they call me. And there's two reasons for that. Number one is that if they call me, it's right when they're at their peak interest, right? That I can get them right when they know that they want help. They understand the value of what I can provide. If I call them the next day, then maybe they've already forgotten. Maybe they don't remember why they were interested. Or maybe they've even found another solution. Maybe they figured it out themselves. Maybe they'd hired somebody else. So I give them my phone number. And the other reason I do that is because it allows me to just skip the rest of the process, right? I just skip from ad to call. I'm skipping half of the sales process here. So I prefer that they call me rather than I call them. Next element is the landing page. Landing page, I have three elements. First is the copy/video. Again, the copy is just what you say. It's what you say on the landing page. And so I say something about how I can help them, right? I identify I think somebody said, data sciencing says when they have pain. Exactly. I identify their pain and show how I can be the solution to their pain. And then the way I do it, you can do this in a video or in kind of a sales letter with just text. I do it with text, and then I also have a video beside the text where I give a screen share of some of the more impressive Excel projects that I've done in the past. So I just kind of demonstrate some of the projects that I've done. Now, we talked about earlier, the average person doesn't really know Excel to a high level, and because of that, they don't often really know what is possible in Excel. So by having this video, I'm doing two things. One is I'm proving my competence. I'm proving that I know Excel to a higher level than them, and I'm proving that I can help them. And secondly, I'm also giving them ideas. I'm jogging their imagination. I'm showing them some things that are possible that they probably didn't know were possible before. And so when they get ideas, they have new things that they want me to do, right? The project expands. The project gets bigger, and so the amount of money that I get paid gets bigger. Next element is my phone number. Again, I would prefer that the client calls me rather than me calling the prospect, rather. And so I put my phone number, again, on the landing page. And then the third element is the contact form. So I ask for their name, for their email, for their phone number, and for just a little bit of information about their project. So that's all for the landing page. Now, the next part is the thank you page and email. I lump those together because they both say the same thing. So after they fill out the contact form, they will go to a thank you page, and it has three elements. Number one is confirmation, just says, hey, I got your information. Two is set expectations. I say something like, okay, you can expect a call from me, and we'll chat in the next 24 to 48 hours. And I use words like chat because I want to make it sound as informal as possible. I want to make it sound like it's zero obligation, like they don't have to worry about anything. I want to make it as likely as possible that they're going to actually pick up the phone when I call them. So I set expectations in that way. And then the third element, yet again, is my phone number. Right? I say, if you get impatient, you can always call me first. And then give them the opportunity yet again to call me when their interest level is at its highest point. And then I also send an automatic email. I have a system that sends an email automatically as soon as they fill out the contact form. And in that automatic email, I say exactly the same thing. I say that I put my confirmation, set expectations, and give them my phone number. Now, the email is wonderful for two reasons. Number one is it builds credibility. The fact that I have an automated email system makes me look more legitimate. It makes me look like a legitimate business rather than some fly-by-night guy in his basement or something. And then the second reason the email is great is that it gives the client a record, or the prospect a record. If they choose not to work with you, it gives them a record that they can come back to you later on if they have something that they do need your help with. And this actually happened to me just last week, that somebody who had opted in, who had filled out my contact form about 2 months ago, didn't choose to work with me at that time, but 2 months later, they got back in touch with me, replying to my automatic email. So having that email will give people impetus to reach back out to you in the future. Now, last part is the call. Now, I'm not a person who enjoys sales. So I created this call, the way that I do my call, I make as non-salesy as I possibly can. It actually works really well. The way the call works, I have 4 steps. Number 1 is to gather requirements. I just get an idea of what the person wants, and I ask as many questions as I need to get an idea of what they want, both what they think they want and what's the reason for what they think they want. And then I make a proposal. Once I got a good idea of what they're looking to do, and the proposal might be exactly what they told me, right? It might be that they already know what they want, and I just say, okay, well, do what you said. But oftentimes it's something different. It's something that I understand Excel better than they do, so I can recommend. I say, okay, I understand your requirements, but I would go about it this way because I think it will meet your goal in a more efficient way, something like that. And so once I make the proposal, and then I get the client to agree to it. So once I ask the client, does that sound good? And the client says yes. Then I give them my cost and my time estimate. So I say something like, okay, well, here's the way that working with me works. I charge $100 per hour, and I'm estimating that your project will take somewhere from 12 to 15 hours. And usually I add some kind of softening statement. I say something like, oh, and by the way, I bill at the end. I don't bill at the beginning. And I will let you know as I'm going exactly how many hours I'm logging so there's no surprises. And then if the client is good with that and they want to go ahead, then I send them over a quote form, which also has a contract on the bottom. They sign the contract, send it back to me, and I get started. So, are you guys all with me so far? Let me know in the chat. Is this making sense? Michael says yes. Stephen says yes. Hatham says yes. Debbie says yes. Gospel Great says yes. Cool. Now, for me, this is the most exciting part. If you're probably going to agree with me. You're all number of people like me. So let me show you exactly what the numbers look like in this business model. Now, this chart that you see here is what marketers call a sales funnel. This maps out the various stages that the prospect goes through on the way to becoming a lead. So the first stage is clicks. These are the people who click on my ad. Now, of these people who click on my ad, some portion of those are going to become leads. Either they're going to give me a call, or they're going to fill out my contact form, at which point they become a lead. And then some portion of those people who become my leads will sign on the dotted line and become my clients. So let me show you what these actual rates are. Of the people who click on my ad, about 5% end up becoming leads, right? About 5% either give me a call or fill out my opt-in form. And by the way, I know that number seems a little bit low, but the numbers work out. I'm going to show you why that is. But the truth is that this business is pretty unique. I've never seen anybody that's doing what I'm doing, at least not advertising on YouTube. So when people see my ad, a lot of them are curious, right? A lot of them, they're not really ready to be my client, but they are curious about what I'm doing, so they click on the ad just to see what it's about. And some of those people are, they think this is pretty cool. I might be able to use your information in the future, but not right now. So they click on my ad, maybe take down my phone number and my email address, or my website, right, to use in the future. So only about 5% are really serious and actually want help now. And so those are the people who become leads. Now, of the people who are leads, about 50% of those become clients. Now, if the person has gotten to this stage of becoming a lead, they have given their information, including their email address and their phone number, to a stranger on the internet, or they've called a stranger on the internet, chances are if they've gotten to this point in the process, then they're pretty serious, right? So I get a much higher conversion rate from leads to clients because these people are already pretty serious. So these clicks I'm having to pay for. Remember, I'm running paid advertising in order to get these clicks. So let's look at how the costs work out. I get clicks for about $1 a piece. Oh, and by the way, I'm seeing a bunch of questions. Leave your question for the end. I will get to questions, I promise, but I will let me get through the presentation and then I will get to the questions. So clicks are about $1 a piece. That's what I've gotten on average. They're up sometimes, lower sometimes, but on average about $1 a piece. So let me ask all of you math geniuses out there, if a click costs me $1 and 5% of clicks become leads, then how much on average am I paying per lead? Annette says $20. Exactly. Very nice. So I'm paying $20 per lead. In order to get 20 clicks, I pay $20. And so if I get a lead for $20 and 50% of leads become clients, then how much do I pay per client? And I won't make you wait on that one. I'll just put $40. So I'm paying $40 in ads in order to get one client. Now, this is the exciting part. The average client is worth $1,500 to me. So I put in $40, I make $1,500. I spend $40 in ads, I make $1,500 from the client. And by the way, this isn't just like free money. Obviously, I have to do the project in between. But you see how powerful this is. If I put in $40, I make $1,500. If I put in $80, I make $3,000. If I put in $100, I make $15,000. Right? You guys can see how powerful this is. And so let me actually let me show you some real numbers here. This is a screenshot from my Google Ads account. Now, Google Ads, again, is the platform that YouTube is hosted on, that YouTube Ads is hosted on. So here's my my ad, Advanced Excel Optimization video ad. And you can see I paid almost $400 over this time period. And I got an average cost per click of 99 cents for 374 clicks. I got 13 conversions. Now, a conversion means somebody who filled out my opt-in form. I have it set up so that Google Ads knows whenever somebody fills out my opt-in form. So my cost per conversion is $28.60. That's my cost per lead. That's my cost per person who filled out the opt-in form. And remember I told you that I prefer when clients call me rather than me calling them. Well, if they call me, instead of filling out my opt-in form, instead of filling out my contact form, then those don't get recorded. And I find that it's about 50-50. About half of people prefer to call me, about half of people prefer to fill out the contact form. So really there's about 26 conversions here, and the cost per conversion is about $14. So there's some real numbers for you. Now to me, and you guys might disagree with me, but to me this is fun. Right? Because you get to have complete control over how many new leads you get. If you want more customers, you push the on button on the ad. If you are overwhelmed and you have too many customers, you push pause. And if you want to, ramp up the speed at which the customers are coming in, you put more money into the ads. If you want to slow it down, you put less money into the ads. You have complete control. You push a button to turn it on or off at any time. You can send $40 to YouTube and get a $1,500 client. I think this is pretty cool. So let me ask you guys, if you were to do this, how many clients would you take per month? Let me know. What is the ideal number of clients that you would like to take per month? David says 5. Heather says depends. Anant says 4. Depends on the nature of the work. Yeah, for sure. But we're saying it's 15 hours on average. Julian says 4. Lee says 2 to 3. Rose says 4. 4 to 5. 5. James says 12. Data sciencing says 30 to 40. I don't know if you could swing that. That would be difficult. Well, it's kind of what I expected, is that there's a big range, right? Some people want to work a lot, make a lot of money, and other people would just rather take a few clients, have a little bit of extra side income, maybe side income while you're working a job. Maybe you want to work part-time, semi-retire. Well, because the way this is set up, it works really well either way, because you have that control. You imagine if you get to choose how many new leads you want per week or per month, and then you set your ads to exactly that level. Now you have an automated lead machine bringing you new clients on autopilot whenever you decide to turn it on. So, is that cool? Like, are you guys with me on that? Let me know. Heather says, yes, very cool. Data sciencing, yes, very cool. Arbitrary. And you guys have some difficult to read names, tiny little letters there. I love the concept, very cool. Yep, very smart. Yes, following. Very cool, very cool. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into part 2 here, which is how to thrive as an Excel freelancer in a bad economy. And again, I put bad in quotation marks there because just because it's bad for other people doesn't mean it has to be bad for you. In every economic recession and every economic downturn, there are always people who thrive because they're properly positioned during that time. So here's the situation as I see it. Normally I'm an optimistic person, but the way I see the situation right now, businesses are shutting down, people are losing their jobs, there's unprecedented money printing, the central banks are printing more money than ever before in history. I just don't see it getting better anytime soon. I mean, I hope I'm wrong. I hope that there's some miracle that happens, but I don't see it getting better anytime soon. So the solution for us individually is to be someone who saves businesses money, and frame yourself that way in your marketing. So in order to do that, just for a moment, put yourself in a typical business owner's shoes. All of a sudden, you're making less money. Maybe you had to shut down your business completely for a while. Maybe you had to lay off a few employees, and budgets are really tight. But you still have to keep track of all your data. Your business still relies on Excel. Basically, the business owner in this situation has 2 options. Either they can pay employees to do the data work, and the more inefficient the spreadsheets, the more employee time it takes, or hire an Excel freelancer to clean up the processes and save a bunch of time and money. So these are basically the 2 options that the business owner faces in this situation. They can hire an employee or they can hire a freelancer. An employee costs $50,000 or more per year in salary, right? Especially somebody who's good at Excel is not going to come cheap. A freelancer, they can pay $1,500 and that's it. For the employee, they have to pay benefits. They have to pay paid time off. They probably have to pay health insurance. They probably have to pay the family's health insurance. With the freelancer, they don't have to pay benefits at all. With employee, they have to worry about labor laws. They have to worry about getting sued for wrongful termination or discrimination. With freelancers, there aren't any labor laws. With the employee, they have to hire permanent, and it's really difficult and uncomfortable to lay somebody off. Whereas with the freelancer, they just hire them as needed. At the same token, the employee is full-time. They have to pay them for 40 hours a week, whereas the freelancer, they can pay for just as much time as needed. So if you think about if you're a business owner who is having to cut back on your budgets, who you're not making as much money as you used to be making, which of these is going to be the most attractive to you? Obviously the freelancer. And if you want to, you could put contractor kind of in a middle column there. And the contractor is a little bit better than an employee, but the contractor is still full-time. It's still a pretty hefty amount they have to pay. So the freelancer is by far the best option there. And so if you, as the freelancer, can communicate this to your prospects, can communicate how much better you are than the alternative, then they will be overjoyed to pay you that $1,500, right? Because it saves them from paying that $50,000 plus all the benefits and all the legal liability, etc. So just for my own knowledge here, let me ask you, what do you guys do for work? Let me know in the chat. What kind of work do you guys do? Have some data analysts or accountants, programmers. Christian says accounting. Heather says accountant. Data science consultant, data analyst, business process analyst, programmer, manager, and chef. Oh, that's cool. Marketing, pricing analyst, performance analyst, service desk manager, database manager, data analyst, CFO for a day, tax accountant. Okay, very cool. So a whole bunch of different professions that use Excel. Awesome. So let's go ahead and get into part 3, which is how to get clients to trust you even if you've never done an Excel project before as a freelancer. Let me ask you guys, how many of you guys were thinking about this? How many of you guys you're a little nervous that maybe you don't have a lot of experience doing this, and you're kind of nervous, you're thinking, why would anybody sign with me? Why would anybody want to hire me? If you're feeling that way, let me know in the chat. Diyushi says, yup. Chris says, yup, really nervous. Heather says, it's how to price it that I'm concerned about. Debbie says, oh, yes. Lee says, for sure. Okay, cool. Well, I promise you that by the end of this section, you will feel a lot better about this. Now, when I started doing this business, I was super nervous. I didn't have any experience. I wasn't sure if my Excel skills were good enough. I was afraid I would disappoint my clients. And basically, I just didn't have much self-confidence. But I also knew that you can never succeed if you don't try. And I did not want to spend my whole life in a cubicle. So I forced myself to face my fears and do it anyway. I was far from perfect, and my Excel skills were nowhere near as good as they are today. But I jumped in anyway, and I learned along the way. And now, with the benefit of 7 years of experience and a whole lot more self-confidence, I can tell you some easy ways to get clients to trust you, even if you're brand new, and why most of your fears are probably unfounded. So here are some easy ways to get credibility even if you have no experience. Number one, and this is by far the most important, is just be able to help. If you are capable of using Excel to a higher level than your prospect, then you are able to help. If you can suggest them things that they are unable to do but for themselves, then you are able to help. And it's going to come across very clearly if you are able to help them or not. And by the way, every once in a while, even I get clients sometimes that want something that's really complicated, and I have to say no to them, right? But for the vast majority, I'm able to help. And just the fact that I'm able to help and I'm able to understand their problem, I'm able to make suggestions, is really big. They pick up on that, and that gives me a lot of credibility. Number two is to focus on the prospect. This is the other really important one. This is the second most important. Focus on the prospect. Do not focus on yourself. Do not talk about yourself. You do not have to validate yourself. You don't have to talk about what experience you have in the past. You don't have to talk about your college degree. You don't have to talk about your certifications. You don't have to talk about your past clients. Just do not talk about any of that stuff. I like to talk about this like it's like if you go to a mechanic and you bring your car, you say, my car is overheating. And the mechanic takes a look at the car and says, okay, well, you have a hole in your radiator. I can get it finished by this evening. It's going to cost you $500. Are you going to turn around to that mechanic and say, okay, Mr. Mechanic, well, where did you go to mechanic school? Are you mechanic certified? What kind of mechanic trade organizations do you belong to? How many clients have you had in the past that you helped with their radiator? Right? You're not going to say any of those things. You care about three things. You care, can the person help you with your problem? You care about how long is it going to take, and you care about what's it going to cost. Those are the only things that you care about. So you as an Excel freelancer are in exactly the same position. They do not care about your qualifications. All they care about is that you can help them, how long it's going to take, and how much it's going to cost. So if you can just do these two things, if you can cover these two things, being able to help and focusing on the prospect, that will satisfy 95% of your prospects. Very, very few people will ever ask you for anything more than these two things. Now, just in case that's not enough for you, and you want to be able to cover that other 5%, I'm going to give you some other ideas. And if this gives you peace of mind, by the way, that's worth a lot. If you ask anybody that's ever been successful in business, or anybody who's failed at business for that matter, if you ask them what has been their biggest obstacle, almost all of the time they'll say it was something within their own mind, right? It was their own psychology, it was their own fear of failure, it's their own lack of self-confidence. So anything that you can do to make yourself feel better, even if the client never asks about it, is worthwhile, because the more confidence you have, the better you feel about it, the more likely you are to be successful. So the third thing is to have a portfolio, or better yet, a video of a portfolio. Now remember, I told you when I was going through my marketing system, I told you that I have a video, a screen share video of my portfolio on my landing page. Now, the whole process that I showed you earlier, if you go through that process, that by itself will gain you a whole lot of credibility, right? Because for one thing, you're advertising. That gives you credibility. When the person clicks on your ad and goes to a website, you have a website, that gives you credibility. They see your portfolio video on the website, that gives you credibility. They fill out your contact form, they get an automatic email from you, that gives you credibility. So by the time that you're talking to someone on the phone, if you follow this process, you've already built up a lot of credibility. The client basically already trusts you. So the portfolio or video portfolio is very helpful. And then a last thing, just in case you really needed more, but the last thing is to have a list of past clients. And now, probably you guys are thinking, okay, well, I don't have any past clients. Well, if you think about it, you probably do. If you have ever made a spreadsheet for your job, for the company that you work for, then you can, for all intents and purposes, your current company is a client. If you've made a spreadsheet for a company that you've worked for in the past, then that company is a past client. If you've created a spreadsheet for your church or for your volunteer organization or for your golf club or anything, those all qualify as past clients. So if it really makes you feel better, you can list out your past clients and have that handy in the very unlikely situation that somebody asks for them. And by the way, in 7 years of doing this, nobody has ever asked me for a list of past clients. But if it makes you feel better, then again, it's worth it. So let me ask you guys, does this make you feel better? Does this give you a little bit more confidence? Heather says yes. Abram, competence supersedes certification. Absolutely. Debbie says yes. Louise, somewhat. Arbitrarian, a little more. Yes. Gospel grades. Yes. Wonderful. Okay, so here's what we've gone over. I told you the exact system that I use to get new high-paying clients consistently. I showed you how to thrive in an economic downturn, and I showed you how to get clients to trust you, even if you've never done an Excel project before as a freelancer. So let me know, has this been helpful? Is this making sense? Christian says yes. Louise says yes. Heather says yes, Stephen says yes, Ben says yes. Wonderful. So if you've gotten value out of this so far, if you've found this presentation helpful, would it be all right if I take just a few minutes to tell you about a program I've got that's going to help you put all this business together? Would it be okay with you if I spend a few minutes just to tell you about that? Abram says, of course. Louise says, sure. Chris says, yes, sir. Debbie says, sure. Stephen says, yes. Cool. Thank you, guys. So this program is called Excel Business Academy. And my goal for this program is that I want to personally work with you to build a profitable Excel consulting business with a consistent system for getting clients in 8 weeks. Now, you guys probably already know if you really want to learn something, you get a coach or a mentor. If you want to get fit, you get a personal trainer. If you want to play an instrument, you hire a music teacher. If you want to start a new business, you work with a proven mentor. Basically, whatever you're doing, you find somebody who has already done it successfully and get that person to teach you. You're going to have far better results and far faster results if you do that. So with that in mind, I've put together a full coaching program where I will personally work with you to create a thriving Excel consulting business completely from scratch. So here's what Excel Business Academy can do for you. It's going to get you new leads and customers whenever you want. Get you reliable income each month. It's going to make it so you don't have to bet your future on an unpredictable job market. It's going to let you focus on the Excel work that you enjoy. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I like doing Excel stuff, right? I like doing work in Excel. I like solving problems. I like finding cool ways to visualize data. So if you're like me and you enjoy doing Excel work, if you can make a business out of it and get paid to do what you enjoy, then that's awesome. You're going to be able to work from home. You can be your own boss. You can set your own schedule. You get a lot of schedule flexibility in this business, right? Because you can work on your own terms. I mean, you have to schedule calls with the clients occasionally, and you have to be there when you schedule, of course. But apart from that, you can work whenever you feel like it. And you can work as much or as little as you want. Now, the way I see it, there are three things that you need to be successful. Number one, detailed yet simple to follow training, coaching and personal support, and the exact forms, scripts, keywords, and templates so that you're taking any guesswork out of the situation. Now, this program is going to have 5 core components. Phase 1 is lay the groundwork. This is where you're going to define exactly what your business is, what it does, how you take payment, that kind of thing. Phase 2 is build the machine. This is where you create the client getting system that we went over in this presentation. And then phase 3 is start the engines. This is where you're going to actually start running advertising and you're going to start signing on clients. So these 3 phases make up the core training. And then you're also going to get the community, which is a private group where you can get accountability, you can get support, you can ask questions, you can share leads, etc. And you're also going to get personal coaching. This is not one of those things where I just tell you, watch a bunch of videos and then good luck. No, this is something where I'm actually going to be personally coaching you through every step of the way. So the community and the coaching make up the support system. So let me get into each of those steps in a little bit more detail. Phase 1 is lay the groundwork. This is where you're going to learn to understand your customer. You're going to understand who is the ideal customer, how you can find that ideal customer, what that ideal customer is looking for, and how to speak their language, how to speak in a way that is going to be compelling to them. You're going to define your service offerings. You're going to decide exactly what it is that you offer to the customer. You're going to set your deliverable and payment structure. And I'm actually just going to give you my quote, contract, and invoice forms, right? I'm just going to give you the ones that I'm using, and you can erase my name and put yours, because they're already working, so no need to reinvent the wheel there. And remember, I told you that when I started this business, I didn't get paid for my first client. So I'm going to make sure, in phase 1, this is all about making sure that that does not happen to you, because it's heartbreaking. Phase 2 is build the machine. I'm going to show you how to create a demonstration of power that wows your prospects. I'm going to show you how to build a landing page that puts your lead collection on autopilot. I'm going to show you how to create that automatic email for added credibility. And by the way, this is all going to work even if you have no web design experience. I'm going to step you through every single bit of this so that it doesn't matter if you don't know a single line of HTML. I'm going to show you exactly what to say that gets viewers to become leads. This is really the trickiest part because saying the words that make people want to give you their information is a little bit difficult. People are wary. People are skeptical. And so you have to be able to come across as somebody who is competent and someone who is trustworthy. So I can help you with that. I'm going to show you exactly what to say to get leads to become clients. And I'm going to show you exactly how to set everything up, even if you have no web design skills. And I'm going to show you how to turn everyday conversations into new business. This is kind of a little extra thing because the main machine is the marketing method that I went over. But if you could have a new client every time somebody asks you, well, not every time, but if somebody asks you, what do you do for a living? And you could turn that conversation into a new client, then it's definitely worth it because you're getting those new clients for free. So that's phase 2. Phase 3 is start the engines. I'm going to show you exactly what to say in your ads to quickly get attention and get clicks. And by the way, this is difficult, right? Not a lot of people get this right. If you think about when you see a YouTube ad, what do you normally do? Right? You skip it as fast as you possibly can. That's what everybody does. So in order to be able to write an ad that actually captures people's attention and actually gets people interested is a difficult thing to do. And it's something that I've spent a lot of time learning how to do. I'm going to show you how to quickly and easily record video ads that work, even if you don't have any kind of studio setup, right? You can do this on a phone. I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. I'm going to show you the exact keywords to target to reach your perfect clients. I'm going to show you how to set your ad budgets for full control of new leads. Basically, I'm going to show you my full set it and forget it system. So once you build the system, you just push the on button and it works for you. You don't have to think about it again. That's phase 3. Now the community is a private members only Facebook group where you can ask questions and get support both from other people in the group and from me. I'm on the group a lot. You're going to get accountability. And we do lead sharing in the group. So something that happens for me every once in a while is I get a lead somebody gives me their information or somebody gives me a call and says, hey, I need this thing. And I say, I don't know how to do that. For example, I get some that ask for Google Sheets, and I don't know anything about Google Sheets. So what I do is if I get a lead that I'm not prepared to help, I put it in the group. I say, hey, I have this lead. Does anybody want to take it? And so you can do the same thing. You don't have to disappoint anybody if you don't know how to do something because you can share the lead with somebody else. And if somebody else has something they don't know how to do, they can share the lead with you. And in fact, Roland, I need to go back a little bit here. I got a lead recently that I was not prepared to take just because my schedule is so busy. I don't have time to take on another lead. So I offered it to the group, and one of the guys in the group, Roland, said he'd take it. So this was before the course even started. I reached out to him, I gave him the lead, and I gave him just a really quick crash course on how to take the call. And then he sends me this email. He says, concerning the previous lead for David, I'm going to get that done today. He's ready to give me his credit card number, but I'm not fixed up yet to take credit cards. How can we best handle this? So before the course has even started, Roland has already got his first client, and he doesn't know how to take the payment because, I'll get into that in the course, but he hadn't even gone through that at that point. And then a week later, during the first week of the course, which is just kind of the basic setup stuff, I gave another lead to another one of my students, Lauren. He says, I talked with her, that is the lead, and it seems to be just an input form with a couple of pivot charts. I sent a quote for 3 to 5 hours, and she signed it. So Lauren, in the first week of the course, before we get into anything marketing related, has already gotten his first client. And by the way, that 3 to 5 hours, that's pretty normal. Usually you quote something small at first, and then you do the project for the client, and then the client comes back and says, hey, I just had all these other ideas. Will you do this for me as well? And the client and the project just expands with time. So that's how the lead sharing works. Now let me tell you about the coaching. The way that this program is laid out, you're going to have weekly live training for 6 weeks and then weekly live support for 2 weeks. So this is an 8-week program. The first 6 weeks are all lessons. I'm going to be on with you live teaching the lesson, and then I'm going to be there to answer any questions that you might have. And then the last 2 weeks are just open live calls. So anything that you need help with, if you need me to look over your ad copy, if you need me to look over your landing page, anything that you want, any questions you have, anything you want me to review with you, I can do either during the first 6 weeks or during the last 2 weeks, which is completely open. You're going to have a lot of direct access to me, both through the live calls and through the Facebook group. So let me just go over real quick everything that you're going to get. Phase 1, lay the groundwork. That's where you build the basics of your business and define what it is that you do and who you're serving. Phase 2, build the machine. This is where you create your client getting system. Phase 3, start the engines. This is where you start advertising and start signing clients. That's your core training. And then you're going to get the community and the coaching. Now, let me ask you, if you did this for a long time, so you did this for years, you get 500 clients over the life of the business. At $1,500 per client, that's $750,000. If you get 100 clients, that's $150,000. If you only get 10 clients over the entire lifetime of this business, that's still $15,000. And then, I mean, you have to take out a little bit for ad costs, so it'd be 14,000 something. But even if you only get 10 clients, it's still worth over $14,000. So what if I told you that you could get full access to Excel Business Academy live for just $29.95? That's the price of just 2 clients. If all this did was to make you an extra $3,000 a month in side income, would it be worth $29.95? If all this did was give you the ability to skip the traffic jams and work from home, would that be worth $29.95? If all this did was give you the freedom to wake up when you want and set your own schedule, would that be worth $29.95? If all this did was let you take a couple extra vacations every year, would it be worth $29.95? I think so. So the investment in the Excel Business Academy is $29.95. However, since this program is brand new, I'm not even through an entire session yet, I'm going to offer you a special deal. If you will agree to these terms, I'm going to give you a huge discount. If, when you get your first client and your first client payment, you let me know in the Facebook group and let me use your post as a testimonial, then I will take a big chunk out of this price. Is that something that you guys would be willing to do? Put a deal in the chat if that's something something you guys be willing to do. Jennifer Reed doesn't think this is live. Lynn says deal. David says deal. Nicholas says deal. By the way, you guys who don't think that it's live, it's because there's a lag, and not everybody has the same lag. So probably if you're coming from a different country, I get more of a lag, so I'm responding to the first people first. Cool. So if you would like to get this, if you will agree to the terms that I just told you, you can secure your seat now for $14.95. Go to www.christube.com/8weeks. I will write that in the chat. Now, I'm only taking 15 people. As I told you, this is a live coaching program, so I don't want a whole bunch of people because then I'm not going to be able to have time for everybody. I want to be able to give everybody individualized attention, so I'm limiting the number of people that I can take in this program. Now, if you see an order form, when you go to this website, christube.com, that's my name, by the way, /8weeks, if you see an order form, that means that there are still spots available. However, if it's already filled up, then you'll see this page that says, sorry, this program is currently sold out. Now, for the 15 people who get into the program, you're also going to get these bonuses. Bonus number 1 is the quick win method for getting your first 1 to 3 clients. In this bonus, I'm going to give you the exact scripts and method to leverage your existing contacts so they refer you your first 1 to 3 clients. This is something that you can do almost right away, right? This is something so that if you want to recoup your investment fast, if you want to get some clients fast, so you can recoup your investment before we go through all 8 weeks of the course and before you have to build out the whole marketing system, this is going to help you do that. And this is something that's only going to work once, or it's only going to work once in a while. This is not something that's that you can do every day, right? But if you want to make back that money really fast, this quick win method is going to help you do that. So this is worth $1,500 to $4,500 by itself. Second bonus you're going to get is the advanced scaling strategy. In this bonus, I'm going to show you how to scale your business so that you're not doing all the work yourself and you don't have a ceiling on your income. Once you do this business for a while, you get into this situation where you get a little overwhelmed. right? You're doing a lot of work, and you get to a point where you can't really do any more work. So you have a ceiling on your income. You're making pretty good money, but you can't go above it. And you're probably a little overwhelmed with the amount of work. So the advanced scaling strategy is how I figured out to deal with this. And what you're going to do there is it's a method of taking the projects that you have and outsourcing them to people who will do them for a fraction of the cost. It's finding outsourcers, or freelancers rather, who will do it for a fraction of the cost. And it's easy to find freelancers that will do it for cheap, but it's difficult to find good freelancers that will actually get it done and that don't constantly hound you with questions. So I'm going to show you exactly how to structure your client calls and how to find those freelancers that are going to take work off of your plate instead of giving you more headaches. And then finally, bonus 3 is Excel for Consulting Mastery. In this bonus, I'm going to show you exactly what are the most important Excel skills to know to serve your clients and give you a complete curriculum to learn them. Now, I know some of you guys probably felt like I did when I started this, that you're not really comfortable with your level of Excel. You're kind of worried that you don't know enough. And if you're feeling that way, first of all, you have to jump in anyway, right? At some point, you're always going to feel that way. It's called Imposter Syndrome. Psychologists even gave it a name because it was so common. People always feel like they're the imposter, like everybody else knows what they're doing and they're the imposter. So you got to be able to jump in anyway. But like I said, anything that gives you peace of mind is worthwhile. So what I did is I went through a whole bunch of my old client projects and figured out every skill that I used, every formula, every chart type, every line of code that I used, and I put it into a parallel 8-week program. Now, the main coaching program here is 8 weeks long, and I made it a very relaxed pace. I made it with busy professionals in mind, that you're working full-time, maybe you have a family, you don't have a whole lot of time to put into it. So it's only a few hours of work per week. And so I created this Excel for Consulting Mastery as a parallel program that you can do both at the same time. You can build your business in 8 weeks and at the same time fill in all those Excel skills that you might want to have. So let me recap real quick everything that you're going to get with this package. Phase 1, lay the groundwork. Phase 2, build the machine. Phase 3, start the engines. You're going to get the community. You're going to get the coaching. The first bonus, the quick win method to get your first 1 to 3 clients. The second bonus, the advanced sourcing strategies. The third bonus, Excel for Consulting Mastery, for a total value of $15,000. Now, Excel Business Academy is for you if you want to be your own boss and have the freedom to set your own schedule, if you want to be able to work from anywhere, or even if you like your job but just want some extra side income. It works great for that too. Or if you'd like to semi-retire and work part-time on your own terms. You know, I hear a lot of folks that are reaching retirement age, they're getting into their 60s and they're getting pushed out of their jobs. Their jobs are saying, you need to go retire, we don't want you anymore. And then if they try to find a new job, they have a hard time getting hired because of the age discrimination. Well, this is perfect for someone in that situation because you can work as much as little as you want. Nobody cares about your age because they don't have to hire you permanently. And you can work part-time and you can work from anywhere. So perfect for that situation. It's great if you don't want to gamble your future on an unpredictable job market. It's great for you if you've tried freelancing before, but had a hard time getting high-paying clients. Or even if you're completely new to freelance work. I'm going through every single step of this process, so I'm going to show you how to build this business from the ground up. And even if you're an experienced freelancer, but want an easier and more reliable way to get new business, this is going to work really well for you as well. Excel Business Academy is perfect for data analysts, accountants, IT consultants, programmers, database administrators, marketing analysts, financial analysts, business intelligence, actuaries, and anybody else who uses Excel in their career. So get in now, secure your seat, go to www.chrisshoup.com/8weeks. And by the way, you have to put that www. It'll give you an error if you don't. I am taking only 15 people, so this is first come, first serve. Now, for those of you who would like to have everything that we discussed done for you, That is, you just like to have this business basically handed to you so that all you do is take the calls and sign the clients and do the projects, then I have a second option just for you. That is the Business in a Box package. So with that package, you're going to get everything that we talked about, right? You're going to get all of the coaching, you're going to get all of the bonuses, plus I'm going to create for you 2 complete video ads, written, recorded, and edited. Now there are 2 ways to do this. I can record them for you, or I can write a script for you and have you record it yourself. So if you would like to be your own spokesman, I'll write the script and give it to you. You can record it, send it back to me, and I'll edit it, both of the ads. Or if you would prefer that I be your spokesman, then I can do that too. I can just say, hey, this is Chris with ABC Excel Company, or whatever you call your company, and I'll be your spokesman and I'll do everything for you. I'll do 2 video ads. So you have 2 to choose. You have 2 that you can run parallel to each other and figure out which one works better and run with that one. I'm going to do all of the setup, the targeting, and the split test for both ads. When I say split test, again, that means running them in parallel, figuring out which one is the better one. I'm going to create a fully functional landing page and thank you page for you. I'm going to set up I'm going to write and set up your automatic email. I'm going to set up your new lead notification, so you're going to get an email every time you get a new lead immediately, because again, the faster that you can call a client the faster you can call a prospect after they have given you their information, the more likely you are to get that prospect as a client. So I'm going to set up a new lead notification, and I'm also going to set up your complete conversion tracking and analytics, so you're going to be able to see your numbers real time all the time. Setup. So the price for the Business in a Box package is $34.95. Again, this is at www.chrisshoup.com/8weeks. It's the same website for both packages. When you go to that website, www.chrisshoup.com/8weeks, you're going to see something like this that has just an overview of what you're going to get. It shows your billing details here. You're going to fill out your billing details. You're going to fill out your payment details. Scroll down a little bit, and now you're going to have the option to do the Excel Business Academy. That's the base package, or the Business in a Box option. You just choose, you click on whichever one is best for you, and go ahead and submit payment, and then you're going to go to a screen that says, congratulations, you are enrolled in the program. And then you're going to get an email with everything that you need to do after that. So if you want to get in, again, there are 15 spots, and I'm not sure how many have been taken at this point. If they have all been taken, then you'll see a screen saying that they've all been taken. But go to www.chrisshoup.com/8weeks. Okay, and that's it for me. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look at who I have to congratulate here. And if you have any questions, then let me know in the chat box here. And if you asked me a question before, by the way, it probably got buried. So go ahead and ask me now. Congratulations to Otis, you are in. Let me see, I'm seeing some questions in here. Having to scroll back here. Arbitratorian says, what I like most is hearing that you overcame your fears by imagining what your life could be like if you took a risk and you went for it. Thank you. I appreciate that. That works for everything that I've tried to do. Seriously, like whenever you try to do anything new, there's always fear. Even if it's something, it doesn't make sense, right? There's not a lion chasing you. The worst that can happen is I don't get any clients. So the fear doesn't really make sense, but it's always there. So I always have to rationalize to myself. I say, okay, I'm not in any real physical danger. I'm just going to do it. So thank you. I appreciate that comment. Oh wait, I'm way up in the comments. I got a lot of comments, so bear with me. I'm a little lost here. Nicholas says, do you have a payment plan for the business in a box? Good question. No, I don't. I don't at the moment. However, if you'd really like to do that, and but you just can't do it without a payment plan, then send me an email and we could probably figure out something. So I realize that's a big chunk of change to put down all at once. Lee says, can you tell us examples of projects? Sure, good question. I get a pretty big variety of projects. I get people from all sorts of different industries, but the ones that I get most often, I get people ask for dashboards. People love dashboards. People love to see at a glance how their business is doing. They like to see how their sales are this month compared to last month, that kind of thing. I also get a lot of businesses are running their business off some big ugly spreadsheet. And they send me this and they say, oh, there's something that's not working, or I'm spending too much time on this. Maybe the VLOOKUPs are working half the time, but half the time they're not working because it's formatting sometimes as text and sometimes as a number. And they want me to improve that. So it's kind of a data keeping. Sometimes clients are worried about security because they have this big spreadsheet that they have all of their customer data on, and that's what they share around their business. And they realize that at any time a disgruntled employee could just delete all the data on there, change all the data, and they would be totally out of luck. So those are probably the most common things I get. Henny says, how many hours per week? Good question. The coaching program is about 5 hours per week. That's what I'm targeting. I think that's nice and manageable for somebody who's working full time. That's what I'm targeting. And if you want to do the Excel for Consulting Mastery bonus, that's going to give you an additional few hours per week. And that's going to depend on what level you're at now. Because I went really granular on that. I went into everything that you could use, everything that I've used in the past, basically. So if you already know a lot of Excel, then there's probably only going to be a few things you need to fill in. If you're really kind of low level, then there's probably going to be a lot more. But for the main program, 5 hours per week. Yoram says, please also talk about what kind of projects you usually get or you've done so far. Yes, like I just said, dashboards, data stuff, mostly. Heather says, what types of projects would be worth a client paying $1,500? Yeah, again, same answer, right? If a piece of data, you got to think, from a business point of view, $1,500 is nothing. $1,500 is chump change for most businesses. So if they can see a data visualization that will save them, that will let them make a decision faster, that can make them an extra $50,000, let's say, which again, $50,000 even isn't really very much. Or if the business owner values his time at $100 an hour, and you can save that business owner 50 hours a year, right? Then that's $5,000 worth of savings that they're paying $1,500 for. So from a business perspective, a lot. It's that $1,500 is just not very much. Glenn says, how do you handle sensitive data from clients? Do you create workbooks with fake data, or do they trust you with real data? Good question. Some of both. There's two ways that I go about that. Some clients just don't care. They just send me all their data and they don't care at all. Other clients, if they do care about the data, I give them two options. I say I can sign a non-disclosure agreement for you, or you can just delete all the data and put dummy data, like you said. Heather says, how do you price projects? That is that's a little bit sophisticated. And I mean, I price by the hour, like I said, but as far as, if you're asking how do I estimate the time, that's a little more sophisticated, and I go into detail on that in the course. Eric says, any market for custom DLL development in Excel? That's a good question, Eric. I don't know the answer to that, because that's something that I've never done myself. But really, when you get into this business, it's more about what the client wants than what tools you use to get that, right? If that makes sense. So if your DLL development can get the client their objective, can make their business processes faster, or can help them visualize their data better, then absolutely. And the fact that you have that advanced skill set is going to help you. But it really depends on what you can fit into what the client desires. Gary says, how many hours a week for training? About 5 hours a week. Arbitratorian, same question as Iram. Please also talk about what kind of project you usually get or you've done so far. I answered that question a few times. I hope you got that answer. Michael Patterson says, if I choose the Business in a Box package, will I have access to the Excel Business Academy training? Yes, that is correct. You will get everything that's included in the Excel Business Academy training, as well as the Facebook group and all of the bonuses. Jeez, my comments just jumped. I have to figure out where I am. Salim says, you said the bonus 3 Excel for Consulting Mastery is a separate 8-week program. How much do you charge for that program by itself? I don't sell that program by itself. I only offer it as a as a bonus for the coaching program. Emily says, like to see some of your work. You can, if you like, you can go to advancedexceloptimization.com. That's my old website where I have some. Well, at this point, it's pretty ancient and probably won't impress you at all. But yeah, you can see a few samples there. Arbitratorian says, can we see your portfolio? Yes, absolutely. I will show that in the course, and I will go into detail on how you can create a portfolio of your own and actually put it into a video, because nobody wants to download a spreadsheet and then try to figure out how it works, right? So if you try to send the client a spreadsheet and say, here's what I can do, they're probably not going to do it. And if you have macros in it, they get that nice little box at the top that says, warning, if you open this, then it's going to infect your computer, right? So, yeah, so the video is definitely a better option. It makes it a lot easier for the client. I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. Doc says, I don't know how I fell into this channel due to autoplay, but best. Well, thank you, Doc. Arbitratorian says, thank you, Chris. Very inspiring. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate your comments. Longstreet says, how much follow-up work do you get fixing spreadsheets after a user screws it up? Good question. A fair amount. I mean, usually clients are smart enough that they have a backup saved somewhere so that if somebody screws it up, they can just reload the backup instead of having to come to you. But you will get a lot of follow-up work in general, because if you do a good job for the client, then from then on out, you're their go-to person. And I show you in the course, actually, how you can build that trust in such a way that even if somebody comes to them and says, hey, I can do this work for a third the price, they're still going to come to you, because they've built that trust in you. They know that you can solve their problem without giving them a whole bunch of headache. Lorenzo says, thank you, Chris. Very insightful. Thank you, Lorenzo. I appreciate that. Gary says, are your clients individuals or corporations? Good question. Most of my clients are small businesses. And, you know, oftentimes I do get some, yeah, I very rarely get big corporations, just because they have so much bureaucracy. It's kind of difficult for them to hire someone without getting like 15 approvals from management and stuff. So usually it's small businesses, and sometimes I get individuals who are working a corporate job and they have something they just can't figure out, so they'll hire me. But majority is small businesses. Glenn says, thank you. You're very welcome, sir. Henny says, I'm in New Zealand. How will we time training? I'm working during the day, but can work from home. Good question. The way that I'm going to do this, because the program hasn't started yet, is I'm going to take a poll of everybody who joins, and I'm going to find a time that works for everybody. Now, if you could make it at 8 p.m. Eastern time, U.S. Eastern time, then probably if that's a convenient time for you in New Zealand, I don't know what the time difference is there, but if that's a convenient time for you, then probably it will work. The course will work for you, because I'm doing this evening times generally for Americans. So probably that would be morning for you, I think. Stephen says, thanks much, Chris. Good info. Thank you, Stephen. Appreciated. Kobe Demand 2000 says, do you need to know VBA and what level? Good question, Kobe. I know VBA. I find it very helpful, but you don't necessarily need to. You find this situation where there are a whole bunch of clients that need different things, or they have some goal in mind, and they don't really care if you use VBA or not. So if the chances are, in most cases that I've seen, in most cases, there's a way to do it with VBA and a way to do it without VBA. And there's probably actually 10 ways to do it with VBA and 10 ways to do it without VBA. So you just, whatever's in your toolbox, you do the best that you can with that. So obviously, the bigger your toolbox is, the better you're going to do with that. And then the Excel for Consulting Mastery, I went through all of the VBA code that I've found useful in the past. So if you want to brush up on that, then that will be helpful. Ram says, thanks. Thank you, Ram. Ram says, yes. Nicholas says, is this geared more towards small mom and pop businesses or corporate? More small mom and pop businesses or medium-sized businesses. This has been very informative and love this idea. Thanks a lot, Nicholas. I appreciate that. Dalip says, thanks a lot. I'll get back to you. Thank you, sir. I'm sorry. I don't know if you're a sir. Thank you, sir or ma'am. Longstreet says, do you give a guarantee period? Thinking of someone changing a file name or adding a column, changing the column name, etc. So you need to go back and update the PQ. Good question. No, I don't give a guarantee period. Since I'm working by the hour, if somebody screws something up, I just charge them to fix their screw up, really. Rolo says, do you recommend Power BI over Excel for dashboard and reporting? I don't know anything about Power BI. I've never used it before, so probably it's better. And probably if you know Power BI, then you'll be better at this business than I am. But again, it's just whatever you have, whatever is in your toolbox that can help the client, the bigger your toolbox, the better. Salim says, have you published any books regarding this material? I have, kind of. I don't have it around here. I published a book called The Magic of Compound Business Growth, which is a general marketing book. It's not specifically targeted towards this. But interesting question. Nobody's asked me that before. Now, by the way, probably some of you guys, if you're really paying attention here, you might have noticed that the marketing process that I use to get you on this presentation is almost exactly the same process that I'm going to show you how to use. And some of you came through John with Excel help, but everybody else on this presentation came through almost exactly the same process, where you saw an ad. You saw one of my ads on either Facebook or YouTube. And if you think about, what do you normally do when you see an ad on Facebook? Well, you scroll past it. You don't even look at it. What do you do when you see an ad on YouTube? Well, you hit the skip button. I've figured out how to make ads that pop, how to make ads that make people really pay attention, even with really low budget, no studio. Because this is a skill that not a lot of people get, and that's why 99% of the time you hit skip on the ad, right? I've really dedicated myself to learning how to do this, and so that's why I figured out how to do this. And so you saw my ad, and then you clicked on the button, and then you saw a landing page. and then you put your info into a landing page. You put your email address and maybe even your phone number. Probably you don't really give your email address and phone number to random guys on the internet very often, right? Because I was able to communicate the value of what I'm sharing here. And then you probably saw a thank you page, and you probably got an automatic email, right? So this process that you went through to get onto this presentation is almost exactly the same process as I'm going to show you how to get clients for your business. The only difference is that I'm doing a presentation and you're going to be doing a call. Other than that, it's just about the same. So if you're here, I mean, we're an hour and a half into the presentation and you're still with me. I see there's 91 people who are still on here. You know, your time is valuable. You're not wasting an hour and a half of your time for no reason. You're here because I showed you that it was beneficial to you. So that you're here is proof that this process works. How to Excel says, I saw his ad and that's why I started talking to Chris. Yeah, that's right. He emailed me. He filled out my opt-in form rather and just said, I don't need any Excel help, but I just wanted to say what I think what you're doing is really cool. So yeah, that's exactly it. So put any more questions you have in the chat, by the way. I'm in no hurry here at all. So if you've got questions, let me know. Spots are filling up here. Let's take a look. I got Henny. Henny is in. Congratulations to you, Henny. James is in. Congratulations, James. Jacob is in. Congratulations to you, Jacob. You guys your spots are secured. Okay, Nicholas says, I think you went through everything. Very good. Marco says, thank you, Chris. Good to know how this can be another income stream. Wish everyone much success on it. Thanks a lot, Marco. Appreciate it. Otis says, I've signed up, paid for option 1, but would like to consider upgrading to the business in a box. Can you help me make sure I get the best price for the upgrade? Thanks. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, let me think about that. I probably should have considered that. Yeah, if you want, let's do this. If you want to sign up for that now, make sure that you get in. Then go ahead and sign up for that, and I will cancel your first payment. Or if you want to, if you just want to talk about adding on to that, if you don't want to do that way, then send me an email. We can talk about it. Good question. Rolo says escalating is very important. Are you doing it right now with freelancers? I'm not sure what you mean by escalating. Can you clarify that a little bit? Longstreet says, I have to go. Morning here. May come back to this program later when I do retire. Not much longer for that. Cool. Well, good luck to you then. But again, you do want to get in now. This is the first time I've run this program, by the way. So the $14.95, that's the introductory price for the folks that are willing to give me that testimonial that I talked about earlier. It's not going to be this price forever. And if there's anybody on here you're thinking that this really is the right opportunity for you, but you're hesitating, and if this is not the right opportunity for you, for sure this is not for everybody, right? Like this is absolutely not for everybody. And if this is not the right program for you, then I am not going to waste a second of my time trying to convince you to get into this. I want people who are going to be dedicated and who are going to be successful. But if you think that it is the right thing for you, if this is a great opportunity, but but you're hesitating. Maybe you're thinking, oh, well, I'll think about it. I'll keep it on my radar. I'd really encourage you to think about just how that tends to work out, because way too many people live their life in this cycle where they're presented with an opportunity that they say, oh, I could do that. That would be great. Let me think about it. And then they think about it, and they think about it some more. And then they forget about it. And then the opportunity passes them by, and it's gone. And then maybe a couple years later, they get another opportunity. And they say, oh, that might work. Let me think about it. And they think about it, and then they forget about it, and the opportunity goes away. And 40 years later, they're on their deathbed, and this has been the cycle of their life. They're full of regrets because they never really jumped on anything. So again, I don't want to seem like I'm pushing you into anything. If this is not right for you, then absolutely do not sign up. It will be better for both of us. But if you're kind of in that hesitating mode where you know that it is right, but you're worried about something, you're insecure about something, I would really encourage you to consider that maybe this is the time to actually jump in and actually make it happen. Salim says, how do you handle different versions of Excel? Which version do you develop projects in? I find that it's not a big problem very often. I use 2013. I don't even really keep up to date, but that seems to work just fine 95% of the time. And then every once in a while I get a compatibility issue. They give me an error or something, and then I just Google how to fix it. And usually I go back to an earlier version of Excel and switch out the code for that, and it works just fine. Abram says, beta version, forgive the bugs. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. And actually, since this is the first time I'm going through this program, I am really, really involved, right? I'm making this very open so that I'm live every single lesson. There are no videos in this program. I mean, I'm going to do recordings of all of the lessons, but all of the lessons are going to be live. So if I skip something, so if I don't explain something as well as I could, so if I go too fast and you don't understand something, I'm right there for you to ask me at the end of the lesson. And then the last 2 weeks are completely open for you to ask me any questions that you have. If you can't make a call, or if you can't make one of the live sessions, you can ask me a question beforehand, and I will answer it on the session that you can watch on the recording. I'm going to be involved in the Facebook group. Like I'm going to be really, really working with you to make sure that you guys are successful here, and make sure that I iron out all of the kinks in this. So this is kind of a unique opportunity, actually. Oh, Marco says, do you think Google Sheets is taking a big chunk of the spreadsheets in the market? That's a good question. I don't really know the answer to that. I don't hear about it very often. Every once in a while I get a client that wants Google Sheets, but not very much. And I mean, I label myself the Excel guy, so maybe that scares away people that do Google Sheets. But yeah, I don't hear a whole lot about it. Nicholas says, I think he meant, are you subcontracting your current projects? Yes. That is, well, to some extent. There's some things that I prefer to take myself that I think are going to be very difficult to explain to somebody else, and those I'll take myself. Or if it's a previous client that comes back to me and says, hey, I need this little update, and it's faster for me to just make the update than explain to somebody else how to do it, then I'll do it myself. But otherwise, yes, I do subcontract. Okay, so Rolo says I was right. Good. Ben says, this is very difficult to scale, finding trusted contractors to put in charge of your clients' projects. Yes, fair point. There's two main things. One is finding people that are competent, and two is building a system where you can pass off the work to that person without you having to look over their shoulder and ask questions every 5 minutes. So the second bonus is all about how to do that. Ben says Google Sheets are not really taking the market share, maybe in some smaller businesses. Yeah, probably that's been my experience. But I do get people every once in a while that ask for it. So if that's competence that you have, then I can pass you off my leads. I mean, if I get a lead that I don't want to take, which actually happens quite a lot now because I'm testing new things with ads to try to see if I can make my ads perform better, and so I'm getting leads, and most of the leads that I get these days, I just don't really have the capacity to take, so I'm just giving them to people in the group. Ben says, good presentation, appreciated it. Thank you, Ben. Appreciate your comment. Any more questions? Go ahead, lay them on me. I have nowhere to be. I can I can stay here and ask questions or answer questions as long as you got them. Kobe Demand says, when you give the leads to people, are you charging for the leads? How do you determine who gets it? Good question. No, at the moment I'm not charging for leads. I'm just giving them for free, and I'm giving them in the Facebook group. And so I just write a post in the Facebook group saying, hey, I got a new lead for somebody. Whoever messaged me first gets it. You know, and I try to make it a little more fair that if I've given somebody some leads already, then I give someone else a chance. But yeah, I'm not charging for leads. When you're doing this system that I'm showing you, leads are just, I mean, it takes $20 to get a lead. It's just not that valuable to me. So yeah, I'm just kind of giving them away at the moment. Salim says, will there be some mechanism in the community for some of us to make ourselves available to be subcontractors for those who are doing the full-blown business? Yes, you can if you want, but I wouldn't really recommend it, frankly, because I mean the way that I'm doing this is I'm charging my clients $100 an hour, and I'm paying $15 to $20 an hour for my for my subcontractors. So it just makes a lot more sense to follow my system than to be a subcontractor because you make a whole lot more money. So, I mean, you could offer to be a subcontractor in the group if you want, but I don't think that would be a very valuable use of your time. Marco says, gotta go. Thank you again. See you later, Marco. Thank you for listening. Appreciate it. I appreciate all you guys who are staying with me here. Everybody that's listening to this presentation, whether or not the program is for you or it's not, I really appreciate you being willing to be here, being willing to listen. So thank you. Leandra says, Chris, have you done any construction projects? I've done projects for construction companies, if that's what you mean, like construction contractors, and I think I did one for a shower company that does, I guess it was a tile company that does tile showers. Yeah, I get, I mean, a lot of those guys that do those kind of construction type businesses, those building kind of things, a lot of them, they have to rely on Excel a lot, but they don't really know it to a very high level. So they're pretty good customers. And they usually make a lot of money doing those businesses, so they don't haggle with you over the price. Like, they're not difficult customers. They're pretty good customers. Colleen says, do people try to negotiate your price or push back on the hourly rate? Not really. I mean, I get some people that I tell them the hourly rate and they just kind of, oh, okay, and then I don't hear from them again. Or sometimes, usually they're pretty interested. So instead of trying to push back on my price, they'll talk about how long it's going to take. So I'll say, okay, the project is going to be 20 hours time estimate, and then they'll say, okay, well, what if we did this part of the project but not this part of the project? And I'll say, okay, well, that's going to be 10 hours. And so I get people that try to negotiate in that way, but I don't really hear people try to push my price down. Good question. Rolo says, do you compromise total fixed hours project duration? This is good for client, but risky for developer. Absolutely not. I've done that in the past, and the results were disastrous, so I do not do that anymore. But yeah, for sure the clients prefer if you do that way, but it's just, yeah, like you said, it's too risky. Landrew says, I meant construction estimations. Yeah, I think I did that once. I mean, the way that I do this, I don't target any particular industry, so I get people from all over the place, all sorts of different industries. So, yeah, it's actually kind of rare for me to get the same industry twice. Usually, everybody's there's so many industries out there that usually everybody has a different project. So that is something I think that I've gotten one time, but only once. And if you do this project, if you do this course, I'm going to show you how to cast a broad net like that, so you're getting all sorts of different industry clients. I don't recommend that you focus on a niche. You know, if you've heard the term "the riches are in the niches," that refers to businesses that are established, that there's a lot of competition out there. So, for example, if you're a marketer, so basically what I'm doing in this program is I'm teaching marketing for people who are Excel consultants, right? And so I am very niche down. I am targeting a very specific niche, and that is people who are Excel consultants, because marketing is a category where there's a lot of competition. But if you are an Excel consultant, then there's really not much competition at all, so you don't have to niche down. You can serve a broad market and still get plenty of clients. And because you're targeting a broad market, your ad costs are really low. Otis says, I'm willing to go ahead and pay for the business in box option 2 now. However, may I ask if you could confirm refunding the first payment? Thank you. Yes, absolutely. Go. Yeah, I will take a look at that now. Okay, Otis, I just fully refunded you. So I think that might take a couple days to show up in your credit card statement, but from my end, it's refunded. Abram says, it was nice to hang out. I knew from the start I wasn't buying, but I love watching good presentation. You were top notch. You're on my radar. Thank you, Abram. I appreciate that. It's definitely not something that comes naturally to me, so I certainly appreciate the compliment. I'm kind of a data nerd by nature, so this presenting is not exactly something that I do normally. And I appreciate you being here too. Abram says, look at that customer service. Woo, thank you. Otis says, thank you very much. I've just paid for the business in the box. Awesome, Otis. I'm super happy to have you and look forward to working on your business. Good night, Abram. Anybody have more comments or more questions, then feel free to let me know. And again, I do have a few spots left in the program, so if you go to chrisshoup.com/8weeks and get in now while you still can. If you see an order form, that means that there's still spots left. Nicholas says, you've been awesome. Thank you, Nicholas. I'm interested, not wanting to let this moment to pass by. How should I contact you for a possible payment plan for the business in a box? Send me an email. I'll put my email address in here. It's chris@dominatethemarketplace.net. And yeah, we'll figure out something. And by the way, I won't shut you out because you told me about this. I understand that $34.95 is kind of big to pay all at once. Nicholas says, arigato, danke, mucho gracias. Well, you're welcome. De nada, bitase. I don't know any Japanese. I'm going to take off this jacket. It's getting hot. I'm in Tampa, Florida. It's pretty hot over here. My wife says I should wear a jacket because it makes me look more professional. Fred says, do you ever need data modeling, database back end? A little bit. Yeah, a little bit. I have my best client actually. My best client has paid me probably over $20,000 total. They have some database systems. They have the Great Plains, I think, and they have another system that's like their accounting system, or maybe Great Plains is the accounting system. I don't remember exactly, but I created a Access database that kind of connects to their two external databases and prints forms based on the data that comes from those. So not very often do I get those requests, but that one time I did, and it was worth a lot of money to me. Jose says, can I apply this to promote my music? Yeah, basically. It's a little different for promoting music, but that's a good question. Nobody's ever asked me that before, but I've actually considered this because I'm a musician myself. But if you do, you could do YouTube ads. Actually, are wonderful for promoting music because you just say something, get the person's interest, and then you play a clip of your music, and you can target people who are already listening to a musician that's similar to you, And so you can give them a clip of your music and they say, hey, that's great music. And then they click on your ad and they buy your CD, or they opt in for a free MP3 download, and then you can send them a bunch of emails offering to buy your CD or buy your t-shirts or whatever. Nicholas says, Irashimasu. Okay, I'll learn something new tonight. I take it that means you're welcome in Japanese. Jose, you're very welcome. Kobe Demand says, besides the cost of the coaching program, how much should I expect for operation cost if I want 5 clients per month? That's a good question. Operation cost, is a fixed, it's about $100 per month for the web hosting and the email software. All of that stuff is about $100 per month. And then if you're getting 5 clients at $40 a month, that's going to be $200, so about $300 per month. And it varies up and down. I mean, the ad costs, sometimes ads are more expensive, sometimes they're cheaper. It depends. Whenever you're running ads, it's kind of an auction. You're competing against the other people that are running the ads. So if a bunch of people are competing to run ads to the same content, then the ad costs are going to be higher. But I found the ad costs are very low because there's a gazillion people who are Googling or YouTube searching how to do something in Excel, but there are not a whole lot of businesses that are targeting those people. So good question. Jose Rico says, how long does it take to start the first campaign? Well, if you mean in the coaching program, it's going to be, I think week 5 is when we get it fully started. Because the way the coaching program works is in reverse. That if you think about that model that I gave you, where there's the ad and the landing page and the thank you page and the call, I show you how to do everything in reverse. So I show you, first of all, how to deliver service and how to price your product, etc. And then we go to the next to last step, which is how to take the call. And then we keep stepping backwards, and then we go to how to create the web pages and that automatic email. And then the last step is how to create the ads, because you need to have everything in place before you actually create the ads, because otherwise you're going to send people to a sales process and there's going to be a hole in that sales process. So I didn't want that. So I go through the process backwards. And then the last week is all about how to analyze your statistics and how to optimize. So I hope that answers your question. If you meant something else, just let me know. CopyFast says, Chris, I've been an Excel VBA developer in the corporate world for 20 years. I'm more interested in how to market myself. Is there a subset of the course to cater just to this? Yeah, that is most of the course. Like, this is a marketing course, 90%. I'm going to go over a little bit at the beginning about how to define your what it is that you do, but almost the entire course is marketing. Oh, good question. Colleen says, when does this class start? This is going to start the week of October 12th. So a couple weeks from now. As far as when the actual sessions are going to be, that depends on everybody. I'm going to send out a poll and get an idea of what time works for everybody, or at least the maximum number of people. Although with only 15 people, I should be able to find a time that works for everybody. But it will be sometime the week of October 12th. Salim says, do you ever get requests from leads for tutoring? Yes, I do. Good question. Yes, there are three, to kind of go into my business model a little bit further, there are three services that I offer my clients. I offer done for you, which is they tell me what they want and I do it all for them. I offer done with you, which is I actually do a screen share like a Zoom, and I go through their project and actually explain everything I'm doing along the way. Some people like that a lot because they're getting their project done and they're learning. And then some people I just do teaching. So they want to learn a particular concept and I teach them how to do it. So good question. Jose, I answered your question. Very cool. Rolo says, I am Excel and Power BI consultant for the Spanish market. Can I contact you to convert, translate, and market your course to Spanish market? I think that's a great idea, but the problem is that I do personal coaching, and since it's a personal coaching course, the same format wouldn't work. But I suppose you consider doing, if you wanted to transcribe all of my recordings, maybe. But feel free to send me an email. Yeah, there's probably a way to go about that, but it would be a whole lot of work. Just warn you in advance. My wife actually had the same idea. My wife's Brazilian, and she asked me if she wanted me to translate into Portuguese for the for the Brazilian market, and I said, yeah, you can if you want, but it's gonna be a heck of a lot of work. Mark just signed up. I got you, Mark. Welcome to the program. Rolo says, can you give me your email? Spanish market is huge. Absolutely. Jose Rico says, awesome. I was about to ask you the same question. Rolo, I think it is a great idea. Yeah, it definitely makes sense. Better than reinventing the wheel, and the Spanish market is something that I'm not touching at all. Right, so yeah, definitely makes sense. I found a Brazilian guy who's doing that actually. He found somebody that was offering a course in marketing. It wasn't for Excel, it was for something else, but he found a course that from an American guy that was in marketing. It was all in English, and he just translated the whole thing and sold it himself. And it seems like he's making a ton of money doing it, so good for him. I'm going to go grab some water. So I've been doing a lot of talking. I'm out of water. But if you got more questions, let me know, and I will be back in a second. Much better. I don't understand how these people do it that will like speak for an entire weekend. My voice is gone after 2 hours. Anyway, any more questions? Go ahead and let me know. If not, I will wait until, let's say, 10:05. If I don't get any more questions, then I'll go ahead and say goodbye. Rolo says, so you shift your skills from Excel to marketing. Yeah, exactly. I realized that my Excel business depended on my marketing ability, so I really dived in. I've been doing marketing basically full-time for the last 2 years. Fred says, do you ever need data modeling or data backend work? No, not really. Yeah, I mean, I might in the future, but when I've had that, I've just done it myself in the past. Jose says, how much money does it take to start investing on ads? That all depends on how much business you want. So I'm assuming you're talking about the Excel. If you're doing for your music, it's the way that online advertising works is really cool because you have complete control over it, and you can see your metrics at every point. Because it used to be in the olden days, you'd pay, let's say you pay $10,000 for a TV commercial, and you had no idea how that TV commercial was going to perform, and maybe it works and maybe it totally sucks, and then if it's bad, then you're out $10,000. You just flushed it down the toilet. Whereas with online advertising, you can write an ad, you can pay $10 for that ad, see what kind of response it gets, and then if it doesn't work very well, you can stop it. You can write a different ad, put $10 on that, see how that works. And so there's very little risk. You're only paying just a little bit of money each time. It's much better than TV advertising. Now, I don't mean to like minimize it because, like I said, writing an ad that works is pretty difficult. You know, most people don't do it very well, and that's why everybody just hits skip on the ads. And so if you're doing that, if you're kind of just doing this by trial and error, then well, for one thing, you spend a lot of time before you get one that works, and you're also spending money. So, I mean, if I had to count out how much money I spent on ads that didn't work, I'd probably be looking at over $10,000. So, you know, if you have the chance to just get somebody to tell you how to do ads that work, then it's worth it for saving your time, but it's also probably going to save you a lot of money. But, you know, even then, the online ads work a whole lot better than traditional advertising. So usually you have to spend thousands of dollars for traditional advertising just to get one test case, right? Whereas you can spend only a few dollars to get a test case on digital advertising. Kobe says, is there a testimonial page for your current students? No, there's not. Again, this is the first session of this program ever is in process. It's 2 weeks in. 2 weeks into an 8-week program, I've already gotten two of my students have gotten their first client. So, yeah, I think that's pretty great. And this is a process that I'm running now. You know, that I'm running my ads now as we speak. This is something that it's not something that worked 5 years ago or 1 year ago or even 1 month ago. It's working now. And then so you guys that are the pioneers, there's going to be the first session that's going on right now, and then the second session that's going to go on halfway through the first session. You guys are the first group. That's why you're getting the discount, and that's why I made that deal with you that when you get your first client, when you get your first payment, that you'll let me know about it in the Facebook group, because I want to use your success as my testimonials. Jose, you're welcome. Rolo says, can you remember your ebook name? My I have a regular book. It's not an ebook. I'll put it in there. It's the Magic of Compound Business Growth. It's a book that I wrote with a mentor of mine who taught me all of this marketing stuff. And it's yeah, if you want a copy, just send me an email because I don't have it for sale anywhere. I don't have it on Amazon or anything. Jose says, how much is the cost for you per client? How much money do you have to spend to get your client on average? Average cost per client is $40. I know. And that, again, that's based on the ad cost. So maybe you got on late, but I showed you, I showed earlier. Actually, I can just go back to that if you want. Let me go back to that slide. Oh, that didn't work. I promise I'm better with Excel than I am with PowerPoint. Okay, here you go. So yeah, this is what my numbers look like. So I spend $1 per click. 5% of those become leads, which means a lead costs $20. 50% of leads become clients, which means I pay $40 per client. So those are my numbers approximately. You know, some days it's better, some days it's worse. And I also showed a specific time period where I spent $371 and I got 13 leads. 13 leads that opted in, that is, that filled out the contact form. So I also get leads that call me, which actually I prefer, and those don't get counted. So it's really, it's more leads than that. This shows $28 per lead, but it's not counting the calls. So I'm estimating at about $20 a lead. Leandro says, thanks, Chris. I'm really interested, so I'll be in contact with you this week. Very cool, Leandro. Appreciate it. You have my email address, so, and anybody who's on here, if you got any more questions later, feel free to send me an email. Jose says, what instrument do you play? I play guitar. Sitting in my music studio right here. Thank you. Yeah, I don't play much anymore, but I played actively in bands for a long time. And give you one guess, why did I not succeed in music? What was it that I was lacking? Okay, I tell you, same thing with the Excel business, marketing, right? Business, like marketing, yeah, you got it. The music business is like 5% talent, 95% marketing. And business in general. Thank you, Fred. I appreciate you being on here. If you think about let me ask you guys, what is the most successful hamburger business in the world? What business sells more hamburgers than any other hamburger restaurant? McDonald's, absolutely. Do you think that McDonald's makes the best hamburger in the world? Thanks, Rolo. Appreciate it. Talk to you soon. No, absolutely not. Yeah. McDonald's makes terrible hamburgers, yet they are the most successful at making hamburgers. That's just kind of the way of the world. For me, in this business, I am not the best Excel person in the world, by any means, not even close. But I've got the marketing figured out. And just like McDonald's has the marketing figured out, and Justin Bieber has the marketing figured out, and lots of really crappy music, in my opinion, has much better marketing than most of the bands that I think are really good. Colleen says, "Is the freelance Excel projects what you do full time?" No, not now. Not now. I'm kind of transitioning to doing marketing. I still do some Excel projects, but I'm getting more into the marketing full time. So if you notice, my email address is dominatethemarketplace.net. That's my marketing company. Are you planning to do marketing programs for other industries? Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. maybe in the future. Marketing is the key, absolutely. Absolutely, that's what I found. And also, if you don't particularly like sales, like me, then if you suck at sales, especially, like I don't see myself as good at sales at all, marketing makes up for that to a large extent. If you can do marketing really well, then you can suck at sales and still make sales, because the marketing is like automating your sales, which, I know you Excel people appreciate automation, so it's kind of automation for sales. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Man, I feel like I'm in a job interview. I don't know. That's a difficult question. I haven't figured out that far in advance. Kobe says, your Excel training bonus, is it free training resources or paid training like Udemy? It's all free. Basically what it is I went through every single little bit of formulas or code that I've used in the past, and I lay it out into a program, and I link to a free resource to learn that bit, to learn that particular formula or that particular code. Nicholas says, thank you, I'm signing off. I always wanted to do this, but didn't know how or if it was possible. You proved this is possible. Thank you for providing this info and opportunity. Thank you, Nicholas. I appreciate your comment, and I'm super glad to have you. And yeah, send me an email if you want to talk about it further. Colleen says McDonald's. I think I'm getting your messages a little bit late here. Okay, well, I'll give you guys, say, 2 more minutes to answer any questions. And then I'm going to go get some food because I'm getting hungry. Rolo says, will you leave this presentation available on your YouTube channel? I will, but I'll put it on unlisted, so you'll need the link. And I'm going to send out the recording, by the way. So, by the way, if you're watching this on the recording and you want to know if there's still space left in the program, then again, go to the site, www.chrisshoup.com/8weeks, this one. And if you see an order form, then it's still available. If you see a page that says that it's sold out, then it's sold out. How many lives are you doing per week? I'm doing 1 per week these days. Okay, well, it is 10:15. I think I'm going to go ahead and get some food, but thank you guys for listening. Thank you for hearing me out. I really appreciate you being on the presentation. I appreciate you participating. Super glad to have you. You know, if you're interested, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I put out a lot of stuff. And if you have any questions, feel free to send me an email. I still have spots in the course as of 10:15 on Tuesday night, chrisshube.com/8weeks. Thank you guys. Thank you, Jose. Thank you, Salim. Thank you, Rollo. And congratulations to everybody who joined tonight, and everybody who is joining after I get off. So thank you guys. Have an awesome night.